Hey, I'm strummerdood or Matt or whatever, I don't know. So I'm about to spoil Papers, Please. So if you haven't played it yet, you probably shouldn't watch. That's it.
The game Papers, Please casts the player as an immigration officer for the Soviet-inspired country of Arstatska. Though it could very easily make a go at it, the game doesn't really make any hard-coded sweeping political statement on communism or fascism. Its developer, Lucas Pope, instead reaped elements from these belief systems to create a world where the designation of good and evil was entirely dependent on player perspective. Players have a myriad of choices on how to deal with the citizens and foreigners lining up to enter the country, but none of these decisions stand out as inherently good or bad. Instead, the game plays on the concept of Newton's third law, in that for every action there's always an equal reaction. Trying to accrue as much income as possible for your family could get an innocent foreigner detained for a simple spelling error. Attempting to eliminate an assassin could fatally poison a guard or immigrant. Following protocol to strengthen the nation may get defectors killed. All of these actions are justifiable in their own way, as various groups rely on your decisions and priorities. In this way, Papers, Please inconspicuously casts the player as a philosopher attempting to define justice, and what that concept means in this particular world. But of course, the kicker throughout all of this is that no matter how you wade through these moral conundrums, in the end, you still find yourself pledging allegiance to some variance of dystopian government. Even the prospect of new Arstatska derives from violent acts of terrorism that don't necessarily point to any type of concrete free nation. This thematic tether links much of Lucas Pope's library of games, in that despite the protagonist's best efforts, he or she is ultimately set to lose big time from the get-go. In the Republia Times, the player takes control of a newspaper editor whose family will suffer unless he drums up support for the oppressive regime he finds himself under. Alternatively, they can work with a rebel group in hopes of turning the population against the government. However, if the player chooses to assist the rebels and usurp the current administration, they will lose their family and find themselves in the same situation under the new leaders. In 6 Degrees of Sabotage, the player must study surveillance tapes prior to the bombing of the mayor's rally, but despite achieving your goal in eliminating the conspiracy ring, the bombs still went off. Your only triumph is retributive justice. A cynic would call these games hopeless, but though they're aesthetically quite dark, at the center you have this protagonist that possesses that shimmer of optimism that would otherwise make the narrative entirely pessimistic. This tether also runs through the music of Radiohead. Much of Tom York's lyrics revolve around resisting complacency in the face of hopelessness. For example, Hail to the Thief's opener 2 + 2 = 5, subtitled The Lukewarm, indicts the masses that knowingly allow the world to crumble around them. A song such as Optimistic describes the exploitation and greed that have come to define the 21st century, but implores the listener to try their best in order to find some type of satisfaction within this void. It's a sentiment that assuredly resonates with the players of Papers, Please, who must find something to fight for in their cramped little booth. The destination therein may not be pleasant, but the journey is satisfying nonetheless. Unless it wasn't. Then, I don't know. Go listen to Street Spirit and be a sad bastard. Whatever.